Welcome to the Deep Dive. For our very first deep dive, we're tackling something that's both pretty exciting and a little bit unnerving at the same time.
Yeah,
The future of media, and specifically how AI is changing things.
right.
I mean, just picture a world where news breaks and articles are written practically in the same breath,
Yeah.
or a world where a movie scene springs to life just from a director's simple prompt.
Well, that's the power of generative AI.
Yeah.
This tech can actually create things like text images, even audio,
Well, yeah.
from scratch.
Really?
And it's not some distant sci-fi fantasy anymore, you know? This is
Right.
already happening in the media world.
It's true. And we've all seen it with ChatGPT and DALL-E. You know, those AI-generated images are everywhere.
Yeah.
These tools are going mainstream and at an incredible pace. I mean, think back to 2023, 73% of U.S. companies were already adopting AI, and that number's only gone up since then.
It really is a revolution.
All right.
Think
Yeah.
about a newsroom with AI. Data crunching and writing first drafts could happen almost instantly. Production studios, script development,
Yeah.
all those mind-blowing visual effects that you see in blockbusters.
Yeah.
AI can have a hand in all of that.
Yeah.
Even marketing, you can imagine ads precisely targeted to your individual preferences.
It's like stepping into a whole new world of media.
Right.
But, and here's where things get really interesting, this technology has a flip side.
Yeah.
There's a potential dark side. I mean, whenever you have power, this transformative use, there's always a risk of misuse,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to something as important as information.
That's right. That's the heart of the dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
Generative AI can be used for good, but it also has the power to create content that's incredibly realistic but totally fabricated.
Right.
Think deepfakes,
Yeah.
videos manipulated to make anyone appear to say or do anything.
Yeah, and those deepfakes are getting ridiculously hard to spot. I remember that picture of Katy Perry at the Met Gala
Yeah.
that went viral.
Yeah.
It was a total fake.
It was-
Even reputable news outlets were fooled before it was debunked. Kind of scary when you think about it.
It perfectly illustrates how this technology can blur the lines between what's real and what's completely made up.
Right.
And this isn't just celebrity gossip or internet pranks, you know?
Right.
The implications run much deeper.
Oh, absolutely. In 2024, there was that deepfake video of Ukrainian President Zelensky
Yeah.
that appeared to show him surrendering.
Right.
He was quickly debunked, thankfully. But imagine if that had spread unchecked.
Oh.
It's chilling to think about.
Absolutely. A deepfake like that in the wrong hands at the wrong time could sway public opinion,
Right.
potentially incite violence.
Yeah.
It really highlights the danger of malicious deepfakes.
Yeah, it's not just political manipulation either.
Right.
There was a deepfake of Tom Hanks endorsing a dental plan,
Really?
which is a bizarre thought, but it goes to show how this technology can be exploited commercially.
Wow.
It makes you wonder, can you trust anything you see or hear anymore?
That's the core issue here, the potential for generative AI to erode trust in everything we see and hear.
Right.
It's a serious problem.
Yeah.
The Reuters Institute found that back in 2023, 48% of people worldwide were, quote-unquote, very concerned about telling real content from fake online.
Yeah.
The number's likely even higher now.
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? Are we just doomed to be constantly tricked by AI? Is there any way to fight back against this tide of misinformation?
Not at all. It's not a hopeless situation. There are solutions,
Okay.
but they require a proactive approach from all of us.
So what can we do? I mean, we're in this wild west of AI-generated content, and trust seems to be eroding faster than a sandcastle in a hurricane.
Right.
How do we rebuild that trust?
Well, it's a multifaceted challenge, so we need a multifaceted solution.
Right.
One crucial element is transparency.
Okay.
We need to know when we're looking at something created or manipulated by AI.
So like a warning label for AI content.
Right. Think clear labeling and robust verification processes.
That makes sense, but wouldn't that be easy to fake?
Right. So that's where those robust verification processes come in.
Okay.
Media companies need to invest in fact-checking systems that can keep pace with this rapidly evolving technology.
Right.
And they need to be upfront about when they're using AI,
Okay.
whether it's for writing articles, creating images, or editing videos.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do we actually verify if something is a deepfake or not? It feels like they're getting more sophisticated by the day. I mean, I'm not a tech expert. How am I supposed to spot a fake?
You don't have to be a tech whiz to be a savvy media consumer. Thankfully, there are tools being developed to help us fight back.
Okay.
Tools like Deepware Scanner and Microsoft's Video Authenticator can analyze videos and flag potential deepfakes.
But so AI fighting AI, that's an interesting thought. Are there any real-world examples of this happening?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Organizations like BBC Verify are doing fantastic work in this area.
Okay.
They're developing real-time detection tools, and they're training journalists in deepfake forensics.
Wow, so they're arming journalists with the tools and the knowledge to become deepfake detectives themselves. That's reassuring. What about other initiatives or any tech companies stepping up to address this issue?
There are some encouraging developments on that front as well.
Right.
Take Adobe's Content Authenticity Initiative, for example.
Okay.
They're working on embedding something called cryptographic signatures in media files.
Cryptographic signatures. That sounds pretty complex. What are those exactly?
Think of them as a digital fingerprint for a media file.
Okay.
They prove its authenticity and origin.
Okay.
So if you see a video or an image with this digital fingerprint, you can be more confident that it hasn't been tampered with.
That sounds like a game changer. But are these just ideas, or are media companies actually putting them into practice?
Thankfully, we're seeing some positive action.
Okay.
CNN, for instance, started a deepfake training program for their journalists back in 2024.
Okay.
And Reuters implemented a deepfake verification protocol in 2025, which significantly reduced their response time to these incidents.
So some media companies are taking this seriously and preparing for the inevitable wave of AI-generated content.
Right.
That's a good sign. Are there other examples of media companies tackling this challenge head-on?
One of the most interesting examples is the Guardian's AI Transparency Initiative, which they launched back in 2024.
Okay.
They started clearly labeling AI-assisted articles, explaining how they were created, and it actually boosted reader trust.
Transparency seems to be a recurring theme here.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's key to rebuilding trust in the media. Are there any other examples of transparency initiatives that you think are worth mentioning?
Beyond media companies, platforms like X, formerly Twitter, have also stepped up their game.
Oh, okay.
They have guidelines requiring clear tagging of synthetic media and penalties for those who don't comply.
So social media platforms are taking some responsibility for the content shared on their sites, at least when it comes to AI-generated stuff. But it seems like all these efforts are still reactive. Are there any proactive measures being taken to prevent the spread of misinformation in the first place?
That's a crucial question, and it's something we'll delve into in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've talked about the incredible potential of AI in media and the very real dangers and the steps being taken to combat misinformation. But let's get down to what we can actually do.
Right.
What can we as everyday media consumers do to protect ourselves? How do we avoid getting tricked by a slick deepfake or a cleverly spun AI article?
Well, that's the question on everyone's mind, and the answer is thankfully not as complicated as you might think.
Okay.
It all boils down to cultivating a healthy dose of skepticism.
Okay.
We have to sharpen our critical thinking skills.
So basically, don't believe everything you see and hear online. That's probably good advice in general.
Right.
But it feels even more crucial in this age of AI-generated content.
Exactly. We need to be more discerning consumers of media. We need to ask ourselves some key questions.
Like what?
What's the source of this information? Is it a reputable news outlet or some random social media account?
Right.
Does the information seem biased or one-sided?
Okay.
And most importantly, does it feel too good to be true?
It's like we have to become media detectives, always on the lookout for clues that something might be off.
Precisely. And here's a pro tip. Trust your gut.
Okay.
If something feels fishy, it probably is.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do a little digging. Cross-reference information. Check multiple sources before you believe something wholeheartedly.
Trust your instincts and verify, verify, verify.
Right.
I like it.
Right.
But sometimes, even when you're being careful, those deepfakes can be incredibly convincing. Are there any telltale signs that we can look for?
There are a few things you can watch out for.
Okay.
Look for inconsistencies in lighting or shadows.
Okay.
Pay close attention to facial expressions, especially around the mouth and eyes. Sometimes those areas can be a bit distorted or unnatural in deepfakes.
Right.
And listen carefully to the audio. Does the voice sound slightly robotic or out of sync with the lip movements?
Those could be red flags.
That's really helpful. So it's a combination of being skeptical, verifying information, and training our eyes and ears to spot those subtle inconsistencies.
Exactly. And remember, technology is a tool, AI can be used to create incredible things, but it can also be used to deceive.
Right.
It's up to us to be informed, to be aware, and to be critical thinkers.
It sounds like this isn't just about being passive consumers of media. We need to be active participants in the fight against misinformation.
Absolutely. The future of media is in our hands.
Wow.
It's up to us to shape it in a way that's responsible, ethical, and benefits society as a whole.
So what's the one key takeaway from this deep dive into the future of media? What should our listeners remember?
Stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to question what you see and hear. Be an active participant in the media landscape. The future of media is what we make it. Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this first deep dive, but this is just the beginning of our exploration of AI in media. We'll be back soon with more insights, more examples, and more thought-provoking discussions. Until then, stay sharp, stay curious, and stay tuned.